Really excited to have you on today. I was really lucky enough to have met you working at a local coffee shop.
Other way around. 100%.
So sweet.
Mm-mm.
I really thankful for Rival. The amount of people that I've met there that I still work with, still hang out with, that I still talk to, having conversations with you, in passing,
Mm-hmm.
you're a busy woman. It was so cool talking about, everything that you've been through from the beginning, where it's brought you now, the way that you navigate life with your kids, your husband, in school now to be an ultrasound tech. So I'm just really excited to have you on.
Thanks, Doll. That's the fun part about coffee, though. Coffee shops, that's what they do. That's the whole purpose. That's my
Brings people
favorite part about
together.
it. Yep. It's a social environment. So that's what it's all about. What you learn about people and the people you come across are never people in a million years I would have crossed paths with without that shop. From
Absolutely.
the other one until now, like it's always been the same way. I love the people it's brought into my
Is that
world.
kind of the purpose behind it? Like you guys love the bringing people together?
I don't know that that's where I'm married into it. So I call it BC. So everything was BC. For me, I married into
Yeah.
coffee. So for him, maybe I'm not really sure. I think it's just something he fell into, something he's good at.
Yeah, yeah.
For me, I just love being there because I
Yeah.
love the aspect of people. I just love people. I love hearing stories. I love talking to people. I love being nosy. I love eavesdropping on
Yeah.
everyone. So I'll sit out in the shop where the boys will go hide. I'll sit out in the shop because I love to just listen to what people are saying about the shop or
Yeah.
what they're doing. It's just fun. You get to meet people in the best ways that you would never. So I'm
For
glad that it
sure.
worked out for you too.
For sure. And even, I've heard different employees coming to you with advice. They're like, I'm interested in going to this school. Should I do it? Should I do this? And it's just really cool because you're kind of one of those people that everybody turns to there.
Those are not my employees. Those are my family.
There you go.
That's my
That's
family.
what's special about
Yeah.
it. That's exactly why I wanted to bring you on. I would love to hear about the start of the journey from the beginning, when you and Ryan met to life together. You can give me little cliff notes, however you want to describe it. Life together, getting into starting businesses, and then when you got sick, time after that, how you balanced it all.
It's been almost 20 years. So that's a loaded bag to condense into Cliff Notes. But we met at the coffee shop,
Okay.
Cafe Bravo, in the mall. Funny thing, little nugget is he asked me out 2 times and I wouldn't go. Third time was in person, so I couldn't deny it, couldn't say no. I'm that person. Pity date is what we called it. And then we fast forward, got married really quick, met to married to pregnant in under a year. So there's
That's how you do it, I guess.
Oh, yeah. And didn't look back. Honestly, never looked back.
Yeah.
He's an amazing, incredible person.
Aw.
So it was awesome. Like I said, married into the coffee. So he's always had the coffee shops. I got pregnant, obviously, right away, like I said. So I was the stay-at-home mom for a really long time. I'm not that person. So it wasn't really my end goal.
It's probably hard for you to sit still.
100%. 100%. I was a cleaning maniac because I didn't know what else to do with myself. So I would clean everything. You could eat off my baseboards. Like it was
Yeah.
it was almost insane. You'd walk in, the smell of bleach was almost overwhelming. So I needed an outlet,
Yep, for
which was
sure.
super important. And that hit. We had been married about 7 years.
Okay.
And that's when you kind of become complacent as a stay-at-home mom. And I love the job. It's an incredible job. It's awesome if that's what you want.
Yeah, for
Does
sure.
that make sense?
Absolutely.
And I all the accolades in the world for all of the women that can do that all day long for
Yep.
the rest of their life. It's beautiful. The ones that are super organized with breakfast, lunch, and dinner, have all their snacks laid out, crust cut off. Like I'm just not that mom.
Yep.
So for me, it was a lot more difficult. I was in my head.
I was with you on that.
It's hard.
It's really hard.
People don't get it, and
No.
I don't mean to sound ungrateful for that because
For sure.
it was a beautiful time with my children that I don't regret at all. But I put myself on the back burner for that.
Yep.
You lose who you are as a woman. You lose who you are as a wife. You lose who you are as a person because you're
Absolutely.
enamored in that. And as
It consumes you.
100%.
That's what I experienced the last 3 years, or during COVID and the year after. I was a stay-at-home mom, and I just lost myself. I wasn't taking care of myself physically, mentally, what I was eating, any of that stuff, and it just took a toll on me.
Yeah.
And I would say, the last year and a half is when I really got back into me, and I've just never been happier. Just, creating those daily habits of like working out, eating the right things. One of the most important is surrounding yourself with the right people.
Yeah.
I started being more aware of who I was with, and the things that we were doing. and it's made me become a better mom. I can be more present now with them because I'm happy. Exactly. Because now I can really be present with them and not think about other things. I mean, to an extent, like there's always things that are going on in my brain, but yeah, it's just working on myself allowed me to be a better mom, and I'm so grateful for that. So
because
I can
you're
relate.
more who you are.
Exactly.
You lose who you are being a mom because you're so focused on being a mom. For me, I was focused on being a mom and being the best wife, right?
Yep.
I came from a super conservative Christian. Like, I went to Baptist Bible College.
Okay.
That was
Different
2 years.
era.
I don't even remember. I don't remember anything about it. It was an exit out of home. Like, that was just, it was a long, long thing. But you lose yourself. And I never really knew who I was. And I think that was part of the problem.
Yeah, because you had kids so young. You got married young.
Yep.
Absolutely.
I never lived on my own. I didn't really go to college because Bible college, in my opinion, I mean, I don't want to offend anybody. It didn't really count in that way. It was super conservative. So you're not really figuring anything out for yourself. You're being told how to be.
There's rules. Yep.
Yeah. Everything was chaperoned. You're not dating anyone. You leave room for Jesus. You know, you can't. The whole thing, which is a beautiful thing, again, if that's what you want. If that's the life you want. So I never really figured myself out until I did get married and until I did have kids and until I did go to work. But all of that came through challenge. Some of the greatest challenges in my marriage are what made my marriage grow, if that makes any sense.
Oh, for sure.
Some of those challenges I'm not proud of, right? Ryan and I both could say we're not proud of certain things we've done, but through that is how we became who we are, which I'm super proud of.
Yeah.
So the challenges we had, I found myself within those challenges. I found certain confidences within those challenges.
Yeah.
It created a different aspect of being a mom because I now had a more confident outlook on things. Then I started to figure out who I am.
Yeah.
What I want to do. Realizing staying home's not my thing.
Yeah.
You know, realizing that this isn't, there's so much more to that. What am I doing here? This is not my life. Like, I don't want to do laundry every day.
Yep.
I don't want to clean the toilet every day.
Yep.
I don't want to get up before everyone and go to bed after everyone because I'm cleaning and doing laundry. Right? So it becomes the reality of what am I doing and what am I going to do about it? Yeah. And so when I started working with Ryan, that's when everything kind of shifted. I would take the kids to the warehouse because we had the roasting warehouse actually down the street. And we hibernated and roasted for a really long time, about 12 years. And then I would take, it was forever. It really was. The coffee thing has evolved over time. It's gone from the coffee shop in the mall, where he started. Yeah. Well, not really, but here is where he started. And then to the one in Old Town, and then from Old Town to the warehouse, and then from the warehouse to and then from that to Rival. And so it's just been this evolution of, and so it's been a beautiful thing that we've been able to do together, and it really helped bring our marriage together.
Oh, for sure.
Which is really cool because not a lot of married people can say that they can work with their spouse.
Yeah, I was just going to question, was that hard working together or it brought you closer?
It brought us closer because we had just come out of some pretty gnarly challenges.
Yeah.
So coming through those challenges, you have more patience for each other.
Quality
in those
time.
Moments.
More valuable.
I don't even know if it's quality time.
Okay.
You're just you're tentative. You're stepping on eggshells. So you're not going to rock any boats that you typically would because you're coming out of, you know what I mean, other challenges in a different environment, so to speak. And so you're just a little more tolerable. And having that actually probably aided in our ability to work together. Okay. We're very different. You know Ryan. Yeah. That man does not stop. You can sit and look at him and know that the wheels are just turning. And he's been that way our whole marriage. Yeah. Since I've known him. He's never slowed down. But he's on a different playing field than I am. So certain things that are important to me are different than him. Yeah. So it was a good balance. Yeah. Which worked out. Yeah. I don't even know. I mean, my kids would come to work. Everything was fine. School, I would do the whole rigmarole. Get up in the morning, do breakfast, get them ready for school, get them off to school, go to work, come home, do dinner, clean the house, do laundry, go to bed. Yeah. That was the process.
More of a balance, yeah.
Balance, but monotony. It was Groundhog's Day. Every day was Groundhog's Day. Okay. And that's where I was like, something has to give. And in those moments, that's where a lot of the growth came from. That's where all the certain design elements and other things that we were going through and trying to piece little things together and the craziness and the chaos and the meltdowns, right? And that's when it's like we had certain come to Jesus moments, and it's just been, balance is not always easy, and I agree. It comes through so many different processes,
and there's different seasons, right? Sometimes you might be in a season of focusing more on the business versus family sounds bad, but like
No.
you know, sometimes you're doing more quality time with your husband versus your kids. And it's just like it is really hard. That's one thing I've really struggled with is balance and making sure that I check all the boxes. You know, I have two business partners. Did I check with both of them today? I have a full-time job. Did I do everything I needed to do today? Did I, you know, give the girls jackets to go to school? Did I make them dinner before they got home? And
That's
it's
a lot of
really
pressure.
it's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure every single day, and it's been hard for me to find that balance, but I'm also trying to make it a point to give myself grace because I am doing a lot. And I feel like that's what a lot of women do is not give themselves grace.
You forget.
Yeah, you forget.
You forget to do that because you're so focused on everyone and everything else that you
Exactly.
forget that. But at the end of the day, that's so much pressure.
Mm-hmm.
And when you talk about seasons, my season with my kids was when they were little.
Mm-hmm.
I was able to be home with them.
Yeah.
Ryan was absent. He was
Mm-hmm.
gone constantly.
Yep.
As an entrepreneur, you never are home.
Unpredicted schedule or unpredictable.
I think it's a misconception, right? You own a business, so you get to make your schedule. Really, the business owns you, and you don't have a schedule because your schedule is constant.
Yep.
You know, so he was gone a lot. So my season with my kids was then. My kids would tell you that their whole life they've grown up hearing about the shop. It's always the shop, the shop, the shop, right? When is it ever not the shop?
Yeah.
And so when we opened, before they started working there, ironically, they would be so upset because we would always talk about the shop. It'd be, and then when my brother moved in, it's the shop. Now everyone's talking about the shop. What are we going to do? How are we going to this? How are we going to that? And my kids weren't involved.
Yeah.
So they felt like outsiders. So now it was, we're focused on work. My kids aren't so much the focus. They're more self-sufficient. They can do their thing. They don't need that.
Yeah.
You know, they don't need me as their shadow anymore.
Yeah.
So I felt okay with that. But then they now work there. So now it's all shop.
Yeah.
And so now finding that family balance outside of the shop is the struggle, if that makes sense.
For sure.
Because now I'm not there, right? And I'm okay with that. But now I'm not there. But I love talking about the shop still.
Yeah.
But it's now finding, okay, we're not at the shop.
Yeah. It's hard to, work, especially when you have your own business, like dividing, you know, when you talk about work versus other things. Because you still want to maintain that connection too about other areas of life. So that's got to be difficult. What have you found to help with that?
There really isn't. And that seems so sweet, so weird, but there really isn't because as you sit and you look at it, the shop that we have, it's people. Your conversations are typically about people and things, right? And so now those people prompt personal conversations at home. So the shop, although it is still talking business, is also bringing in a personal aspect because you can apply it personally. Right? So if people come in and they're having conversations, Soph was talking to someone and they were in a personal situation that she had gone through. And so I interjected and we were able to have that personal connection through a shop situation. So you just learn how to manipulate the conversations so that they all kind of blend together. And as they've gotten older, that's easier. And I don't know if that makes any sense
No,
at all, or
it
if
makes
it's completely irrational, but that's just kind of how it's wound up. We have plenty of that at home because my kids are still growing. You know, so it's still the school, the grades, the friends. You're going out. What are you doing? It's the standards. But a lot of the meaty conversations are, you know, how's it going and what's going on and how do you feel about this and getting their opinion about the shop. So now it's not just talking about the shop. Now they have an opinion about the shop.
Their feedback.
So they feel more
included,
but responsible. I don't know if that's the word. They feel like they now have a responsibility to the shop. So it's a different conversation just because they're different now. They view it differently. So it's been fun.
And then how have you, so you're not working with the shop anymore?
Not really.
What do you do now?
I'm in school. So I decided to go back to school for ultrasound.
There you go.
Yes, ma'am.
How's it going?
Good. It's fun, but it's a lot.
It's 5 days a week, right?
It was this past quarter.
Okay.
So my next quarter will be 4 days a week. And then I have 3 more quarters left, and then I go to clinicals. But it'll be 5 days the last 2 quarters. So, and it's in San Marcos, so I'm gone pretty much 12 hours a day.
Wow.
Yeah. So my kids, thankfully, are old enough to be able to handle that. And Ryan's been able to fill in those gaps.
Amazing.
You know, it's really cool to watch. Soph was kind of my project, and now Buster's kind of become his, which is perfect
Yeah.
because I can't teach Buster how to be a man.
Yep.
You know, so it's been funny because Soph's like, Mom would have never let me get away with that. And Ashton, because Ryan's so
I
much
can
more
hear her saying
lenient.
that.
Oh my gosh, everything's so unfair. Yeah, everything's so different. She's not wrong.
Yeah.
Because I threw my hammer around pretty heavy.
Yeah.
You know, but she notices the differences, and I hear about it. But it's been it's a good balance.
It's a season of you. You get to invest in yourself to build your new venture, your new career.
It's taking that time to remember who you are. It goes back to the whole thing. Being a mom, when I met Ryan, I left Bible college to come and be a nurse.
Yep.
That was my end goal. I was 19 years old. I'm like, I don't want to be a pastor's wife. This isn't me at all. This isn't who I am. I want to go do this. So I left, came home that summer, started working to try and like pay off some of the Bible college. And then I was going to go to nursing. Then I met Ryan. So, I mean, I never got to really do what I really wanted to do because you get lost in being a mom and a wife. And then I got lost in being a mom, a wife, and a business partner.
Yep.
So then none of that was really where I wanted to be. So now it's backtracking to become what I wanted.
Yeah.
And my kids are older. I wouldn't say my kids are necessarily my purpose because they're not my purpose. I think I don't really know that anyone ever figures out what their purpose is, but I have the opportunity now to do something after they graduate. Because what am I going to do? If the coffee shop's not my thing, I don't.
You need a thing.
I need something. I need something to occupy my mind that I feel is healthy. You know, and I've always loved medical. I've always loved the idea of nursing. So ultrasound is how I found my situation. So that's what led me into that position.
What led you to ultrasound tech, though?
Because that's what found my cancer. So
Got it.
that's what created the need and the desire for that, because I think it's important.
Okay.
When you find something that you're passionate about that has changed your life, there's no better feeling than being able to help others the same way.
Absolutely. So can you share some of your cancer journey?
It was short-lived, which is kind of the fun part about it. So as a lot of people, I don't have the same cancer story, which I'm thankful for.
Yeah.
And I say that with a huge, like, grateful heart, because mine was super short and simple and super sweet. Like, it was, I knew something was wrong. I didn't know what. I was super tired all the time. I had thyroid cancer.
Okay.
And I was super tired all the time. My voice changed. It meant, like, I sounded like a Minnie Mouse. And now I sound like this. And so my doctor, who I adored, he was a friend of mine. I actually worked for him.
Okay.
I went and I saw him, and I told him my symptoms. And as usual, he told me I was crazy in a sense because I'm stressed. I'm a mom. I work. I this. I that. I have allergies. So it's probably postnasal drip that's creating the voice change. And I was like, I just don't think so. I'm struggling. I can't yell for my son on the sideline without coughing.
Yeah.
I can't really swallow food without feeling like I'm going to choke. So I have to rearrange. There's just something going on. So I would feel more comfortable getting an ultrasound.
Yeah.
And so that's what we did. You have to advocate, and that's really what taught me to be an advocate for myself. Is if you know something's wrong, fight for it, right? So he ordered the ultrasound, and I'm a Googler. I'll Google all day. I should have died
Me too,
20
girl, me
times.
too.
I really should have. I'm like a cat, but I went and had the ultrasound, and in less than 24 hours, I got a phone call, and he had told me I had an appointment with an endocrinologist, and they couldn't get me in. And my appointment was a month and a half out. And ironically, before I got the phone call from my doctor, I called the endo to see if they could get me in sooner. Okay. Just because I knew my mom has Hashimoto's, so I knew that it was possible. My kids have early onset.
Okay.
So there's no way it's going to skip a generation from my mom to my kids and just leave me out. So I knew something was going on. So I had called him that morning just to make sure, is there any availability? I'll take anything, like, just to get me in. I just want to check. And they still couldn't get me in for a month. So when my doctor called me, he said, I got your results back. I just want to see when your appointment was. And I said, well, I just called them. They can't get me in. I'm a new patient, so it takes longer. And he's like, okay, well, I'm going to call them. You need to probably get in there. I'll call them. You let me know if they don't call you back within the hour. And I was like, within the hour? I said, why? And he goes, I just want to see if they can get you. And he goes, we really need to get you seen. And I said, what's going on? He's like, well, there's just some things in your ultrasound that I want to get some confirmation on. And when I told him, again, he was my friend, and I said, you know I'm going to Google this. Do I have something to worry about? And he said, I just need to get more information. Anytime I ever said that to him, he said, Christina, you're fine. Don't worry about it. It's fine. Don't overthink it. He never said that. He just said, I want to get more information. I knew immediately I had a problem. So it was that second that I was like, okay, So I called doctor back to get my appointment for the endo, and they had me in their office that afternoon.
Wow.
He had the images of my scan in his hand. Ryan and I went in, and when I called Ryan and told him, I was like, we got a problem. And so, I mean, obviously he's amazing. No matter what, we're going to fix it. It's fine.
But we'll figure it out.
Yeah, within 24 hours, I knew. So that's what, when you have a turnaround like that, it definitely hits you. It's a gut punch. But I'm thankful because it was an easy one, so to speak, right? Like I didn't go through radiation. I didn't go through chemo. I didn't have the struggle that everyone else has. And for that, I'm super grateful. I had a moment recently, which is interesting. I think God slaps me in the face sometimes, right? Little wake-up calls because I say things without realizing what I'm saying. And then I get a wake-up call and I feel like it's literally divine intervention, like Christina, shut your mouth.
Yep.
I didn't go through radiation for cancer, but I had to go through radiation for a skin issue that I have. And it wasn't cancer.
You told me about it, yeah.
Yeah. And so the nurse in there asked me about my cancer, and I told her I had thyroid cancer, and she's like, I'm so sorry to hear that. And my immediate response to everyone is always, don't be. It really wasn't that bad. It's the one to get. Like I was super thankful. It was super easy. Yeah. A month said and done. Like I found out January 7th of 2017 that I had an issue. For sure finalized my biopsy was on January 17th of 2017.
Okay.
I had surgery, removed my thyroid February 17th of 2017.
Wow.
I found out I was cancer-free. So literally a month. It was a month. That's why 17 is my number.
Oh,
because it became my lucky number.
Yeah.
Year of 2017, and then everything fell in place. So it was a month, and I told her, don't worry about it. It's totally fine. It was easy, blah, blah, blah. And she started crying. And I was like, oh my gosh, what did I'm saying it's a good thing. It's no big deal. Don't worry about it. And she started crying. Her mom had thyroid cancer. And her mom didn't have the same journey I did.
Oh.
So that's when I say God slaps me in the face because I take for granted what I had versus what other people go through. And that was a major wake-up call for me because it's aha. It's that moment. So you can't take things for granted. And I'm thankful my story is as short, sweet, and simple as it is. But it's moments like that that remind me that it might not have been.
Yep.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So when you talk about perspective, that's what puts perspective on it. Not even necessarily my immediate family, my immediate nest.
Yeah.
But perspective of others. When you're sharing your story and they don't have a similar one and theirs was far worse. That's where my perspective comes from.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's different.
That's wild.
It's very different.
That's wild. So it wasn't as difficult as other people's experiences. Correct. But what did you feel when you found that out? Like what?
Let's go.
You were just ready to take on.
What choice do you have?
That's amazing.
There's the mental of, oh man, it wasn't going to get me where I needed to be. So for me, it's let's do this, right? And I have a support system in Ryan that is on the same level. It was never like a feel sorry for myself. I never had that moment of why me. I never had the oh my gosh. Like it was like, okay, what's next?
Okay.
Let's go.
Yeah.
And so everything was just super fast and it was just quick.
Yeah.
Not afraid. I think your fear comes later. It did for me anyways. Yeah. Maybe not for others, but in other ways. Not fear of having that cancer, but it's the fear of what next.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I had so many other things happen after that, like stomach problems and, whatever, you name it, my gallbladder, polyps, whatever. So that's when you think, okay, what's coming? That's where the fear sets in.
Okay.
But the moment you find out, it's a bad word. It's a gut punch, but it wasn't for me. It was a let's get this done.
Okay. I'm trying to figure out the words for it, but when you go through an experience, I feel like I was more so like this when I was younger. My car broke down on the side of the freeway and I called my mom crying because my tire got flat on the freeway. Okay. And I called my mom crying and I'm like, my tire's flat. Like, what do I do?
Yeah.
Very emotional. That's my reaction. I'm like, this always happens to me. I'm always, dwelling.
Well, you're scared.
Yeah, I'm scared.
And you're young. And you don't know what to do. And you don't have to change a tire.
I had shitty cars.
Yeah. And that's understandable. That's scary, right?
But now it's like something like that happens. I'm like, what do I do? Call AAA. I'm not in that victim mindset anymore. And even, in past relationships, if I was hurt, I used to be like, why me? Why would you do this to me? Like, I'm a good person, blah, blah, blah. But that's not going to fix anything.
Right.
And it's like just standing in, in that specific situation, standing in my worth and knowing what I deserve. And it's like, what's next for me? Because I know the next person that I'm with is not going to do that to me.
Well, you know you're not going to allow it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because all those experiences
Yep.
like help you mold you to like take new things on.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you know what you're looking for. You know what you're
Exactly.
not going to settle for.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a difference there.
Mm-hmm.
You value yourself more, which is
Exactly.
important. But yeah,
Yeah, for sure. Wow.
that's good. It was, I mean, it wasn't.
No, but still, I mean, even your aha moment,
Mm-hmm.
that's crazy.
That one, and it hit hard
Yeah.
because her mom couldn't swallow. She couldn't eat.
Mm-hmm.
They literally watched her deteriorate.
Mm-hmm.
So for me to hear that, knowing that I had just told her, "Oh, it was easy, no problem," you know, and mine's like, I'm almost happy,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and then she had to watch her mom go through that. I was just like, oh,
And you just had no idea. Yeah.
no. And there's different types. So I
Yeah.
had papillary, which is the most common. It's easy. It was no big deal. I don't know what her mom had. I don't know how far it had progressed. We caught mine pretty early.
Yeah.
So thankfully, I was able to push for it, and he listened. Because if he hadn't, who knows?
Mm-hmm.
You know. But those moments I value more than anything. I
Yeah.
value the hard moments. I value the challenge. Like what Ryan and I have gone through. I would do it again if it gave me what I have now.
Yeah.
You know, as hard as that was, I value growth.
Yeah.
I value failure. I think you have to have it in life. So
For
I fail
sure.
every day. I fail as a mom. I fail as a friend. I fail as a student. I fail as a business person. Like I fail every day, and I'm excited about it.
That's how I get now
Yeah.
too. You know, I get rejected, something happens, and I'm like, okay, what's next? Like
Right.
I get genuinely excited. I actually have a folder in my phone now that Hannah
Rejection
and I
folder?
no, literally, I literally have a folder in my phone with Anna, and it's like clients or prospect clients who rejected us. It kind of puts it into perspective because it's like I truly think that we're attracting the people that we want to work with and that like align with us. And it's been so apparent because every time we get a new client, we're like, oh my God, they're our favorite. Like,
Aw,
we love
yeah.
them so much. So it's really cool, reframing that mindset around rejection. And I'm reading this book right now called Worthy. And it's by JB Kern-Lima. She was the CEO of It Cosmetics.
Okay.
She sold it to L'Oreal, I think, for a couple $1 billion. She was the first. I
that
know, just a couple.
Just a couple. Darn.
She sold it to, so she was on QVC, which is kind of one of those like infomercials where they have the products and they're trying
Yeah.
to sell it.
I'm old. I know what
Yeah,
QVC is.
I never watched it, but
I'm old. Been there.
so she was the first woman CEO to ever sell something on there and sold out within 10 minutes.
That's
and she was told no for years because her whole thing was she had rosacea and she wanted to have a beauty company that had real people on it. She wanted to show people's real skin problems and not just some edited models and all that. So that was her pitch, like I'm going to hit more people. More people are going to want to buy this product because, it's more relatable. And everybody told her no. Nobody wants that. They want to buy things from a polished model, all the whole thing.
Not
And
anymore.
after years and years of rejection, they finally said yes to her, and it just went up from there. And in this book, it stuck with me so hard that I think about it every single day. She says God's redirection is protection.
100%.
And so now every time something happens, I'm like, it's to protect me. And
It's an awesome way to look at it.
exactly. And it just really changed my life. Even, recently I had a really bad situation with a very close friend of mine. And heartbreaking. I felt all the things she said in the book. This happened 3 months ago, but I've been going through it, trying to process it. And she says in the book, I read it a week ago, and it says, okay, wait, I need to remember what it says. They weren't destined to be a part of your story. God took them out for that reason. So for me, it was like, all right, this person, they weren't aligned with, where I was at, and they hurt me a lot, and it was protection, and they just weren't destined to be a part of my life. And so that it really helped me process and move on.
I think in some ways, though, you can look at that and think they're not destined to be a part of your story, but they're helping you write it because you're going to change how you handle things moving
Wow,
forward
that's
because of
powerful.
that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So ultimately, they might not be a member in the book, but they're helping you write that story because there's so many things that you're going to do different now because of that. Right?
Yeah.
That's why I say growth. Like, I welcome growth in every aspect because that's what I view failure as.
Yeah.
Is not whether it's people or anything, it's growth,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, I have to have that, and it's looking at it as a positive. How can I flip that? How can I make that benefit me instead of hurt me and just have to walk away from it? How can I make that benefit me so in the long run I can make sure A, it doesn't happen again, and B, it makes me a better person, right? So it's like looking at it from a different angle all the time.
Wow, that just like you got me with that
it's just
one.
A nugget.
Yeah,
just a little nugget. They're still part of your story.
You know what you're doing.
You'll never forget it. You'll just rewrite it a little bit. That's all.
Wow.
That chapter will change a little, and that's a good thing.
Wow.
Because you'll look back on it and be better for it. Always.
I have no words right now because that really just like no, seriously. Oh my God, I don't even know what to say.
No, it's easy. Just grow. That's what you're here for. That's what you're teaching your kids. Right? You teach your kids to be resilient and bounce. You're bouncing.
That's a good point.
You bounce through life.
That's a good point.
Bounce and dodge, bob and weave.
Yeah.
Seriously.
No, we face them head on.
We do. With
too.
Catcher's mitt.
Yeah.
You can't. Life gives you lemons. They say, what did they say?
Life gives you lemons, make lemonade.
What is the curveball one? You dodge it, you miss it. What is it?
I have no idea.
I don't remember. I used to tell people I catch it because I'd rather catch it than dodge it because you learn from it that way.
There you go.
It's all the same. However you slice it, the outcome's the same.
That's very true.
It's good stuff, though.
That's
it really
very
is.
True. I'm going to look at my phone really quick because I have to look at the next question. Okay. So you really just like took, I had to.
Well, good. Then it worked.
It worked. When you're feeling doubt or fear or any of those sorts of feelings, what do you do? Like, do you have any tips? Do you look to someone for advice? How do you go about those moments?
Oh, I think it depends on what it is. You know what I mean? I think every day I doubt because being in school, it's not easy. I doubt my abilities as a sonographer. Am I in the right field? It's super complicated. Am I too old to retain the information? Honestly, I went to school 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I've had to teach myself to restudy. I've had to teach myself how to reuse all the new ways they do things. My kids, I was handwriting things and turning them in. Now everything's online.
Yeah.
You know, so I've had to learn. It's a learning curve. So doubting myself is almost a daily occurrence. But I don't take that as a negative thing at all because I can go sit and talk myself off a ledge. My solace is going to the beach.
Me too.
And I can sit there and stare at the water all day long.
Yep.
I think that the ocean is an incredible body. I think it's so cool. It's so beautiful. It can give life and take life. You know, it's so powerful and it's so cleansing. And I love the noise and I love everything about it. So I go to school in San Marcos. I'm lucky enough to go with traffic every day.
Yeah.
I get to sit in an hour and 45 minutes of traffic going to school. And then I get out of school at 5 o'clock, which means I'm sitting in the parking lot with millions of my new best friends. Right? So instead I detour and I go down to Oceanside and I sit and I just wait out traffic.
Wow.
I'll go run. That's my other good mental. So if I'm having a moment or I try not, it sounds bad, but I really try not to. I try and find the silver lining in pretty much anything. But I'll run to de-stress. That's my decompress. So I go down and I run the Strand. And then I sit and I wait out traffic and I sit and talk myself off the doubt ledge. Or I sit and I wonder, am I doing the right thing? Am I gone too much? Am I being a good mom? Am I being a good wife? Am I doing all these things?
A lot of reflection.
But then remembering that these things make me happy, which means in turn, all of those things are going to be okay too.
You can show up.
I can be a better mom. I can be a better wife. I can be better to my friends. I can be better because I have that piece that I'm doing something for myself.
Yeah.
So the doubt, I think it depends on what it is. You know, but always learning to reroute it by knowing that if I'm taking care of me and I'm doing something to make me happy and I'm doing something for me and it makes me okay, the doubt of going to school and whether I'm good that's completely on me. But the doubt of being a good mom, wife, friend, person, if I can't be good to me, then I can't be any of those things. But if I'm
Yep.
doing something to make me happy, then I'm going to be fine at all of those things, and they'll fall in place. And
Yeah.
it's a relationship, right? So it takes both.
For
So
sure.
it's two-sided.
For
So if
sure.
my daughter and I are at odds, that's both of us.
Mm.
Hasn't happened in a while. We're in a good space.
Yeah.
It's a really good balance. My son and I, he's with Ryan, so we're good. You know, him and Ryan are working together, so he doesn't have any beef with me right now because I'm not throwing the hammer around.
Yeah.
So our relationship's great. You know, there's certain things. Balance is everything. It's hard to find, but if I'm happy, then it makes everything else kind of fall in line a lot easier.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so the self-doubt, I think everyone has it.
Oh, for sure.
Are you human if you don't have it? You know,
Mm-hmm.
but where is it really stemming from?
Mm-hmm. Especially when you're trying new things or
Mm-hmm.
entering new friendships, relationships, all of that. It's natural for sure. I think just finding a way to mitigate it or navigate it really. You said you go to the beach, you go on runs. Same for me. I'll work out,
Yep.
go on a walk, listen to a podcast. I go to the beach a lot too.
Yep.
I think it's really cool because growing up, I didn't have the parent figures or role models to kind of show me how to navigate all of these things. It was very much so be quiet.
Yeah.
You know, keep it to yourself,
Yep.
keep it rolling, you know, and I just knew that that's the opposite of what I wanted for my kids. And, you know, they'll come to me and be like, so-and-so said this, it didn't make me feel good. Or, Mom, I can't draw an A. You can do it. Let's keep practicing.
Can't, never could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's just really cool because now I'm like doing exactly what I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I think before, you know, when I wasn't as focused on myself, I was very much keeping it rolling, keeping it pushing, and I wasn't focusing on like how things were making them feel, how, you know, situations changing might make them feel. And it's just overall really crazy how you're reparenting yourself. Did you experience that?
Yes, in a lot of ways. My mom went through a few different relationships. So I had a really stable home from like 1 to 10.
Okay.
And then 11 and on, it was a little chaotic.
Okay.
And that's fine. I'm thankful because I saw my mom go through things that I was like, that I will never.
Yeah.
I don't ever want to put myself in that position.
Yeah.
You know, and then as a parent, you're going to do things different than your parents did. Just by nature, right? I'm never going to do that because my mom did that to me. You're going to do certain things that you swear you're never going to do.
Yeah.
But at the end of it, you're always going to rearrange how you do things based on where you come from, right? I don't believe in being a product of your environment. I think people use that as an excuse. I think if you don't want to be a product of it, then don't. If you don't like how you grew up, then change it.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to be. That's on you. So I feel like I've parented very similarly in some ways and very different in others. My mom lives with me. She's an amazing person.
Yeah.
But we definitely do things different.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
You know, and parenting has changed. My
That's very
parenting
true.
has changed as my kids get older. My parenting changes. You know, what I was such a hard ass about when they were little, I'm like, why was I like that? There was no reason for that. You know, I've learned to give a little bit more grace and a little less structure because I think they need to be able to make choices, especially at their age, because that lets me see that I'm setting them up for success. At 16 and almost 19,
Yeah.
I need to know that if I'm not around, they're going to be okay. Knowing Soph's leaving in August, I'm so good. That girl is so set. Like, I'm so proud of her. Like, I need her to go.
Yeah.
In the best ways possible to experience it and to come home and tell me all about it and be excited. And it's a chapter in her life. It's one of those that she's never going to forget.
Yep.
So to try and selfishly keep her here and tell her it's a bad idea, I'm not doing my job.
Yeah.
My job is to teach her to go do those things. It's 4 months. Go try it out. Go see how you do.
Yeah.
Save your money. Work really hard. Go do this. Go live. Let me see how you can do. Let me see where I have, here's my word, failed as a parent and where we need to fine tune when you come home. You know, my son, same thing. He's 16. School, chores, the room, you know, the whole thing. It's trying to fine tune certain things and he's still learning.
Yeah.
So you're going to change your parenting styles as they get older because they change. And so do you. You know, you have to. You can't stay the same the whole way. And the world changes.
That's very
So
true.
their environment's going to change. Their friends are going to change. Everything in their life changes constantly. So I'd be fooling myself to say that I had one way of parenting my whole time because I really haven't. I feel like a chameleon. You know, as things change, you have to change.
I never
So,
thought about it. I never thought about it like that. Like,
mm-hmm.
because mine are still young, 5
Right.
and 3. So I'm still very much in the beginning stages of
Yeah.
parenthood, and I
It's
do
the
give.
fun stage.
Yeah,
It's
oh,
the
I'm
fun
sure.
stage. It's so fun. Yeah.
They're a lot of fun right now, you know,
Yeah.
as they're learning words and sentences,
Things are new and exciting.
full conversations. It's so weird.
Mm-hmm.
My youngest, she's 3, and it's just like the first year of her life was a blur because it was during COVID.
Yeah.
So I just can't. It's just weird looking at her, and she's like, "Mom, I really want this." I'm
Aw.
just like, "How did you grow so fast?"
Yeah.
It makes me so sad. But I never thought about it like that. Like the
Yeah.
different, like your parenting changes based off of all of those factors, even just their age, the external factors, and
Mm-hmm.
most importantly, like as you grow as a person.
Yep.
I really never even thought about that. And it actually makes me give my mom more grace because that woman has been through a lot,
Yep.
different relationships, different jobs, etc. But
Mm-hmm.
raising 3 kids, oh my gosh, the teenage years, I was not easy.
No,
so,
and that's the thing.
and then I never think about that. I just think about what I felt at that time, but your perspective definitely gives me more grace for her.
It's hard because as a parent you want to do so much,
Mm-hmm.
right? But you also have to remember you've never done this before.
Mm.
And that's what I think as kids we don't know, we don't realize, right? Like so if she was my first, I was still trying to figure out who I am.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm frustrated because I'm not who I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
Right? This isn't my world. This isn't what I necessarily wanted to do. I'm thankful to do it. Love my
Yeah.
kids, do anything for them, obviously. I mean, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
to the ends of the earth with every fiber of my being, I would stop everything for my children.
Absolutely.
But I wasn't the one that wanted to stay home and I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't where I wanted to be. I wasn't in a happy space. So it changed my parenting
Yeah.
because I wasn't happy.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then them growing and them going through things created frustration because mom's still not there yet.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So until you find that true inner peace within yourself and who you are, you're not going to always be the best parent to them. And that's hard for them to know because they're kids, they don't get it.
Yeah.
You're an adult, you don't know that about yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there's that weird block that
Yeah.
you can't seem to get through. But when you do break through it, like Soph and I had this conversation, I think it was last week, where she was just like, I literally hated you for 2 years because I was
wild.
a stickler.
Yeah.
And as hard as that is to hear, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm way okay with
Yeah.
that because I know that I was hard on her and for good reasons. And I told her that. I said, but I would do it all over again
Mm-hmm.
because look at you now.
Yeah. I was just gonna say, look at her
the
now.
outcome.
Amazing person.
So
yeah.
I would do that hand over foot all day long.
Mhm.
I don't like hearing it,
Mm-hmm.
but I understand it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that
Yeah.
because I love my relationship with her now. So there's so many things as a parent you're going to constantly change, but just remember to try and be who you are and make you happy. Because if you're not happy and you don't love you, how can you love anyone else? And how can you parent properly?
Yeah.
You know?
So what would you say to someone who's going to be a new parent? What's the best piece of advice you could give?
Love you. Be patient with you. Because it starts there. It has to start there.
Mm-hmm.
You can't be a good parent at all if you're not loving yourself and giving yourself that patience and that grace, like we talked about earlier. To not have to worry about everything being perfect. Everything's not going to be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry about the house being clean. Don't worry about making dinner when you get home from working 5 jobs.
Yeah.
Don't worry about whether they took a jacket to school. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
The perfection is not, that's the one thing social media, the
For
white
sure.
picket fence.
Yeah.
Like nobody has that. It's all a lie. So don't compare. That's the other thing. Don't compare yourself to people.
Mm-hmm.
Your baby and your relationship with your baby and your relationship with your husband and the way you feel about all of that as a new parent is never going to be the same way as someone else. So don't compare yourself to people either. It's always going to be different. So give yourself the space to think outside of that little nugget that you just had that's so perfect, cute, sweet, and squishy. But remember who you are behind it.
That's amazing.
You have to.
I wish I was told that when I had kids.
Girl, me too. Me too.
My
I would
God,
be a
it would
different
save me
parent.
a lot of time.
Yeah, I would be a different parent 20 years ago than I am, obviously, now. Because you grow up.
Yeah, for sure. And even, I think back to, I had my first at 21. I just turned 21.
Mm-hmm.
And I think back to that time period. I look at pictures of myself, and at that time, I had the worst self-worth and confidence. It was horrible. And I look at those pictures of myself and I'm like, I'm cute. Like, why What are you talking about?
We're so opposite. We're so opposite. I look back on that and I'm like, I don't even know that person. I don't know that person.
See, that's how I feel about after I had my kids.
Uh-huh.
I look back at pictures, postpartum,
Yeah.
having each of them, even, you know, things I was doing, whatever. I look back at that and I'm like, wow, that, some of it is a blur because I just mentally was not, went through postpartum depression, postpartum anxiety, both pregnancies, didn't have good pregnancies, the surgeries, it was a lot. And so I look at that time period, you can even tell in my pictures, I just look bland. Like I just look empty. Dull, exactly.
Dull.
Exactly. And that, so similar, but before I had kids, I just felt like shit.
Yeah. It was for me, it was being that mom, I lost myself in that. And that's what I was saying earlier. I lost myself. I lost my identity in that. And I never really had one because I didn't know. I didn't know that I wasn't that person. And I am that person, just not to the extent of that, right? There's so many more avenues that I've learned about. But looking at those pictures, I literally, if I showed you a picture of me, you would not think that that's the same person. I'm a completely different, look different, I act different, my energy's different, everything's different. A lot of that came through a lot of the challenges that I went through, though, even in my marriage. Because those challenges are what also helped me gain confidence. Those challenges helped me find a voice. Those challenges helped me not get walked on. Right? Those made me stick up for myself. Those made me change things. Those made me change my attitude. And that's where a lot of who I am now came from. Was not just through being a mom, but through being married and the challenges within that. And I don't think Ryan would say any different. If he sat here today, he'd tell you I was the true version of a bait and switch. Like, I'm a completely different person than the one he married.
In all the best ways, though.
Oh, I'm sure there's some that he wishes were not. That were back to the way they used to be. I was so quiet and subservient, and I was so sweet, and, you know, I was that, and I still can be. But I'm a little bit more vocal. For sure. Than I've ever been. Yeah. But just, I'm a happier person because of it. Yeah. If that makes any sense.
No, it totally makes sense. I could not relate more. And I feel like a lot of people will find this super valuable.
Just be true to who you are. Don't forget who you are. Just because you're a mom doesn't mean you're not Caitlin.
See, I'm going to re-listen to this and be like, I needed to hear that. Every day I need to hear this.
Reminder. Look in the mirror. You know who you are every day. You know, your kids don't define you. You define you. They're just a byproduct of something beautiful. Right? And that's what it is. That's how I view my kids. My kids are not my purpose. They're a byproduct of something I'm the most proud of, which is my marriage. Yeah. So, you know, that's the best part of it.
I love that.
Me too.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming in today.
Thanks for inviting me.
A lot.
It was fun. I was surprised.
Were you?
Awesome. Yeah.
Why?
I don't know, because I'm not my thing.
Oh. You see the influence you have on people?
No, I don't pay attention to it. I just love people. I love talking to people. It's been fun. It really is.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.